America's Journey Through World War. The history of America's involvement in World War I and World War II is a powerful tale of transformation. Over the course of these two wars, the United States evolved from a country focused on neutrality and internal matters to a global superpower. These conflicts demanded bravery, innovation, and resilience from the American people, leaving a legacy that still shapes the nation today. World War I, the war to end all wars. World War I erupted in Europe in 1914. The conflict pitted the Allies, led by Britain, France, and Russia, against the Central Powers, including Germany, Austria-Hungary, and the Ottoman Empire. For 4 years, the war brought destruction to Europe, as millions of soldiers fought and died in trenches filled with mud, barbed wire, and constant danger. America's early neutrality. When the war began, America stayed neutral. President Woodrow Wilson, who was re-elected in 1916 partly because he kept the U.S. out of the conflict, wanted to avoid involvement in Europe's battles. Most Americans supported this position. They believed the Atlantic Ocean was a natural barrier that protected the U.S. from foreign wars. At the time, the United States was a young and growing country. Its economy was booming, and many people wanted to focus on domestic issues like building railroads, expanding industries, and creating jobs. However, as the war dragged on, it became harder for America to stay neutral. American businesses sold weapons and supplies to the Allies, which angered Germany. German submarines, known as U-boats, began attacking ships carrying goods to Britain and France. In 1915, a German U-boat sank the Lusitania, a British ship carrying passengers, including 128 Americans. This event shocked the public, but the U.S. stayed out of the war for 2 more years. The road to war. By 1917, Germany's actions pushed America closer to joining the conflict. German U-boats began sinking American merchant ships, disrupting trade. At the same time, British intelligence intercepted the Zimmermann telegram, a secret message from Germany to Mexico. In this telegram, Germany promised to help Mexico regain Texas, Arizona, and New Mexico if Mexico joined the war against the U.S. The Zimmermann telegram angered Americans, and public opinion shifted. President Wilson decided that America could no longer remain neutral. He asked Congress to declare war, saying the U.S. would fight to make the world safe for democracy. On April 6, 1917, America officially entered World War I. America's impact on the war. When the U.S. entered the war, its military was small and unprepared. The government quickly drafted millions of young men, trained them, and sent them to Europe. These soldiers, nicknamed doughboys, brought fresh energy and hope to the tired Allied forces. At home, women and minorities stepped into new roles. Women worked in factories, building weapons and machinery, while African Americans moved north in the Great Migration to take jobs in cities. The country united to support the war effort. American soldiers fought bravely in battles like the Meuse-Argonne Offensive, which helped force Germany to surrender. By November 11, 1918, the war was over and the Allies had won. Aftermath of World War I. After the war, President Wilson worked to create the League of Nations, an international organization designed to prevent future wars. However, many Americans wanted to return to isolationism. They believed the U.S. should avoid getting involved in foreign conflict. The Senate refused to join the League, and America turned inward, focusing on the 1920s economic boom. World War I had changed America. It showed that the U.S. could play a significant role on the world stage, but it also left the nation divided about how much involvement it should have in global affairs. World War II, a global challenge. Just 2 decades after World War I, another global conflict began. World War II started in 1939 when Germany, led by Adolf Hitler, invaded Poland. Britain and France declared war on Germany, and the world was once again at war. This time, the stakes were even higher. America's reluctance to join. When World War II began, the U.S. wanted to stay out of it. The horrors of World War I were still fresh in people's minds, and many Americans believed the country should avoid getting involved in another foreign war. President Franklin D. Roosevelt supported helping the Allies, but he promised not to send American soldiers to fight. Instead, the U.S. supplied weapons, food, and other goods to Britain and its allies through the Lend-Lease Act. This program allowed America to support the Allies without directly entering the war. The attack on Pearl Harbor. Despite America's efforts to stay neutral, tensions with Japan were growing. Japan wanted to expand its empire in Asia and the Pacific, but the U.S. opposed this aggression. In response, America cut off trade with Japan, including oil, which Japan needed for its military. On December 7, 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, a U.S. naval base in Hawaii. The attack destroyed ships, planes, and killed over 2,400 Americans. It was a shocking and devastating event. The next day, President Roosevelt declared war on Japan, calling December 7th a date which will live in infamy. Soon after, Germany and Italy declared war on the U.S., and America was fully involved in World War II. The home front. World War II transformed life in America. Millions of men joined the military, leaving behind jobs that women and minorities filled. Rosie the Riveter, a symbol of strong, hard-working women, became an icon of the war effort. Factories operated 24/7 to produce tanks, planes, and weapons, and the economy boomed. At home, Americans made sacrifices to support the troop. Food, gasoline, and rubber were rationed, and people grew victory gardens to supplement their meals. Children collected scrap metal for the war effort, and families bought war bonds to help finance the military. The war in Europe. American soldiers first fought in North Africa, where they helped defeat German and Italian forces. From there, they moved to Italy and fought to liberate the country from Axis control. One of the most important moments of the war was D-Day, the Allied invasion of Normandy, France, on June 6, 1944. Over 150,000 troops stormed the beaches, facing heavy German defenses. Despite the challenges, the invasion was a success, and it marked the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany. By the spring of 1945, American and Allied forces had pushed deep into Germany. On May 7, 1945, Germany surrendered, ending the war in Europe. This victory is celebrated as V-Day, Victory in Europe Day. The War in the Pacific. While the war in Europe ended in May 1945, the war against Japan continued. American forces used a strategy called island hopping, capturing key islands in the Pacific to get closer to Japan. Battles like Iwo Jima and Okinawa were fierce and costly, with thousands of lives lost. To bring the war to a quick end, the U.S. used a powerful new weapon, the atomic bomb. On August 6, 1945, the U.S. dropped a bomb on Hiroshima, and 3 days later, another bomb on Nagasaki. The devastation was enormous, and Japan surrendered. On August 15, 1945, bringing World War II to a close. This day is known as VJ Day, Victory over Japan Day. America's role in the post-war world. After World War II, the United States emerged as a global leader. Unlike World War I, where America returned to isolationism, this time the country took a more active role in world affairs. The U.S. helped rebuild Europe through the Marshall Plan, providing billions of dollars to restore economies and prevent the spread of communism. In 1945, the United Nations was established to promote peace and cooperation among nations. America was a founding member and played a leading role in shaping its goals and structure. The war had also marked the beginning of the Cold War, a tense rivalry between the U.S. and the Soviet Union, which would dominate global politics for decades. Lessons and legacy. World War I and World War II forever changed the United States. In World War I, America proved its ability to make a difference on the global stage, even though the country struggled with the idea of how involved it should be in world affairs. World War II solidified America's position as a global superpower, with its economy, military, and leadership shaping the post-war world. At home, these wars brought significant social and economic changes. Women and minorities took on new roles during the wars, challenging traditional norms and paving the way for future civil rights movements. The unity and sacrifices made during these times showed the strength and resilience of the American people. Both wars remind us of the cost of conflict, but also of the importance of standing up for justice, freedom, and democracy. America's journey through World War I and World War II is a story of transformation, courage, and the enduring belief in the power of hope and cooperation.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you won't miss any of our future content. See you in the next video.